It's time now to take a look through today's newspapers, and I'm joined in the studio by Deeptika Laurent. Deepti, Germany has deployed a battalion of troops overseas for the very first time since the Second World War.
Yeah, that's right, Alison, and it is dominating the German dailies today. This is the Rheinische Post on the front page here, going with this headline here. Deep in the East, it says on its front page, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz was in Vilnius, Lithuania yesterday to oversee the deployment of about 5,000 German soldiers to the country. The Post saying that he expressed Germany's determination to work with NATO and its partners to defend the alliance against any aggression. This article from the Frankfurter Allgemeine here, entitled Berlin and Vilnius, also looks at this decision, examining the significance of this decision to station troops there. The paper reminds us that just over 20 years ago, German troops were stationed in Afghanistan, but at the time it was a temporary operation. The deployment of troops to Vilnius is the first time since the Second World War that German troops will be stationed abroad permanently. I quote, "Unlike Afghanistan, this is not an asymmetrical fight against a hidden enemy. It's about national defense against the army of the Russian dictatorship." The German daily also evoking what it calls the end of any illusions we may have about Russia.
And there's also a bit of skepticism in the German papers today.
Yeah, there's this article also from a Frankfurter daily called Frankfurter Rundschau. And in this article that is you can find on their website today, it expresses its concern at how feasible this permanent foreign deployment is, calling it nonetheless a, quote, remarkable move. The paper says that this feel-good movement is temporary. It questions notably how Germany is even going to be able to keep its promise of ensuring the security of its NATO partners when it, quote, lacks both soldiers and weapons. The paper really reminding us that the strength of NATO ultimately relies on the U.S., and it's clear right now that the U.S. President Donald Trump is no longer interested in peace in Ukraine.
All right, we're going to move on now to something that I have never heard of, Deepti, the Enhanced Games. This is a pro-doping high-level sports competition that has the support of Donald Trump Jr.
Yeah, think of it like the Olympics for athletes who dope. The Enhanced Games is what they're called, and Wired tells us that they'll be holding their first edition in May 2026 in the City of Sin, Las Vegas. Athletes can take performance-enhancing drugs, provided that they are legal, prescribed by a doctor, and taken in safe quantities. But basically, anyone who wants to juice can juice. There'll be about 100 athletes. The edition will host 3 sports: swimming, track, and weightlifting. And there'll be up to $1 million in prize money for anyone who breaks the world records for the 100-meter sprint or the 50-meter freestyle. The Enhanced Games, the website tells us, is the brainchild of Aaron D'Souza, an Australian billionaire businessman who actually helped litigate fellow billionaire Peter Thiel's case against Gawker Media involving Hulk Hogan that eventually resulted in being the largest invasion of privacy judgment in history. The Games also has some solid investor backing, notably from Donald Trump Jr.'s firm 1789 Capital. There's an interesting article in the Irish Times which says that Las Vegas is the right place for the Enhanced Games. It calls it a sporting freak show with a cast of drugged-up athletes, adding that the whole point of this event is to break world records. Otherwise, the event really has no point. The World Anti-Doping Agency, for its part, has called it a, quote, dangerous clown show, and warned that any athletes taking part could face sanctions and penalties if they want to also compete in sports that are regulated by the agency. The writer also has sort of an interesting viewpoint, adding that ultimately the organizers of this event don't really care about the controversy. The whole point is to spark a conversation about ethics in sports and the limits that exist in sports and whether we can break those limits or not.
I imagine there's a financial component for them as well, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to follow those games. Next, Deepti, onto doping of another sort. A group of British climbers who reached the summit of Mount Everest in 6 days are facing controversy for how they did it.
Yeah, you can read about this in the Times of London today, Alison. This group of climbers, notably 4 former British Special Forces soldiers, including an MP called Alistair Cairns, climbed Everest on Wednesday. Their expedition is the first commercial ascent done with xenon gas. Now, xenon gas is believed to accelerate red blood cell production and reduce the need for a usually long acclimatization period. Now, their preparation involved inhaling this xenon gas at a clinic in Germany 2 weeks prior to their ascent. And essentially, they were able to climb Everest in just 6 days, when a typical expedition usually takes about 2 months. Now, reports are emerging that the group could be or will be summoned by Nepalese authorities over the use of xenon gas, but the group have denied these reports. Nepal's tourism chief telling the British press that clear legislation is needed over whether the gas is banned or not. It could also impact local livelihoods, as shorter climbs, of course, means reduced needs for porters and support staff.